Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Now that the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, the fight for life moves to the individual states. And Congress is now considering a law to federalize abortion rights.
Well, the High Court's landmark decision could become a critical factor in the midterm elections. Dale Hurd has this look at the immediate reaction to the ruling and what led up to it.
The historic decision has led to celebrations.
I've been working and praying for the past 5 years for this day.
Protests and disagreements.
The attack on abortion is connected to the entire attack on bodily autonomy and equal rights.
And criminal vandalism. Crisis pregnancy centers attacked in Virginia and Colorado, with spray-painted warnings that they are no longer safe. The decision has also sent shockwaves through Washington.
All of us in the conservative world have believed that there's nothing in the Constitution giving the federal government the right to regulate abortion. There's nothing in the Constitution that creates a right to abortion as a constitutional principle. This was judge-made, out-of-cloth law. Now, what this court has done is taken us back to pre-1973.
But the ruling has Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren and other Democrats calling for packing the Supreme Court.
This court has lost legitimacy. They have burned whatever legitimacy they may still have had after their gun decision, after their voting decision, after their union decision. They just took the last of it and set a torch to it with the Roe versus Wade opinion.
But the truth is, this ruling was a long time coming. For decades, even liberal, pro-choice experts said Roe versus Wade was poorly reasoned and wasn't based on the Constitution. Pro-choice scholar Kermit Roosevelt wrote, "As a constitutional argument, Roe is barely coherent." Liberal political analyst Michael Kinsley wrote, "Although I am pro-choice, I was taught in law school and still believe that Roe versus Wade is a muddle of bad reasoning and an authentic example of judicial overreaching." Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg wrote in 1985, before joining the High Court, that Roe's heavy-handed judicial intervention was difficult to justify and appears to have provoked, not resolved, conflict. Joe Biden himself used to have a very different view on abortion, as this interview in 2006 shows.
I do not view abortion as a choice and a right. I think it's always a tragedy. And I think that it should be rare and safe. And I think we should be focusing on how to limit the number of abortions. And they ought to be able to have a common ground and consensus as to do that.
Even though Democrats have moved more and more to the left on abortion over the years, many supporting the idea of almost no restrictions, the public clearly favors limits on abortion. An ABC poll found that 58% believe abortion should be legal in all or most cases. But an AP poll last year showed that 65% believe abortion should usually be illegal in the second trimester, and 80% said that about the third trimester. And far from deciding the issue, the Dobbs decision has simply sent abortion back to the states. 26 states have or will ban or restrict abortions, while it will remain legal in 20 other states.
The real fight is just beginning. So, we've gone from really one battle at the federal level to now 50 state battles.
More than 30 Democratic senators sent a letter to Joe Biden over the weekend urging him to take bold action on abortion rights. And Democrats are hoping the High Court's abortion ruling can boost their fortunes in the midterms, where they face serious losses to Republicans. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Well, CBN News chief political analyst David Brody is with us now from Washington. So Democrats are now talking about a federal law on abortion rights called the Women's Health Protection Act. What does it do, and could it possibly pass?
Well, Gordon, a couple things. First of all, we'll just make it very simple. It codifies Roe v. Wade into law. So, in essence, that's what it does. It gives folks, doctors, women, a statutory right to have an abortion and perform an abortion. And that's pretty much what it does. That the House has passed this already. It's really up to the Senate. The problem is, as we know, they don't have the votes. Now, having said that, what they are arguing about here is whether or not they have the votes. They, the Democrats, have the votes to overturn the filibuster, eliminate the filibuster. And the answer is, of course, they do. They have 50 votes to do it if everybody's on board. So what is being talked about now is, in essence, have a carve-out, a reproductive rights carve-out to eliminate the filibuster. If you eliminate the filibuster, all you need is 50 votes to pass a bill that would be signed into law that would codify Roe v. Wade into law. And so that's what's going on now. And so, look, the truth of the matter is Democrats are ready for, in essence, constitutional anarchy. I mean, they want to blow. Look, the Electoral College, they want to get rid of that. They want to pack the courts. They want federal rights as it relates to H.R. 1, the voting rights, all of that. And now we've got codifying Roe v. Wade. So this is a much broader effort by the Democrats.
Well, the Democrats are talking about what the federal government can do. Is it a mistake for the Republicans to focus just on the states?
Well, I think they're going to have to focus on the states. And, you know, I know the media and the Democrats are trying to lump a lot of folks on the conservative side in with this push for a federal ban on abortion. I don't think we're there yet. Clearly, we're not there yet. And so it would behoove conservatives and pro-life conservatives especially to concentrate in the states. And I think, Gordon, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in these states, right? I mean, we've talked about the rhino term, Republican in name only. We may be seeing what sort of pro-life rhinos we have. Because, look, if you believe that life begins at conception, well, now we're going to go into state by state and say, okay, if you believe that, then why is there an exception for rape? Why is there an exception for incest? And, of course, they're going to have to make that argument, many of these Republicans. It's going to be uncomfortable for them. But if you do believe life is a conception, you know, every life matters to God. And so, therefore, if that's the case, why do all of a sudden lives that come into this world through rape or incest matter less? I think it's going to be a very interesting political dilemma for them. It should be a non-principled, it should not be a dilemma at all from a principled standpoint, though.
Well, let's talk about the principle on the other side. It seems like there's becoming a litmus test to be a Democrat now, that if you're pro-life, you shouldn't be in office. That's what I'm hearing. You shouldn't run as a Democrat. And so there are a lot of pro-life Democrat voters. Are they turning away from their voting base?
Well, I think we've seen that in the polls, Gordon, absolutely. From an independent standpoint, first of all, many independents that sometimes will lean Democrat in certain elections have gone away from the Democrat Party. Remember, this is a Democrat Party that for a long time, back to Bill Clinton and before that, safe, legal, and rare. That was their big line, safe, legal, and rare. Now what do we have? It's the Wild West in abortion at this point with the Democrat Party. Anything goes, up and including birth, as it relates to late-term abortion, and even beyond now, after the baby's born. So, look, they went too far, and this is part of the repercussion from that. And so, look, this idea that they're going to start to ostracize pro-life Democrats from the party, well, let me think for a moment. Oh, I have one hand. I probably can count two, maybe three, actually, maybe one or two, now that I think about it, of pro-life Democrats that are out there in Congress right now. Look, they are an endangered species, and they have been for a very long time. So this idea that they're going to get rid of pro-life Democrats, get rid of what? Two? Three? That train has already left the station, Gordon.
Well, it definitely impacted the 2016 election when Hillary Clinton, in the debate, here she is in a presidential debate. I didn't think she had to take the position, but she took the position that she was in favor of late-term abortion up to and including the day of birth. I mean, those were her words. I thought it lost her the election. Did they not understand that there are people in the country that say late-term abortion should never happen? Are they looking at the polls that even say in the second trimester it shouldn't happen?
Yeah, sadly, they are, and they're still they're operating from the same leftist playbook that has taken over the Democrat Party. And look at these midterms coming up. I mean, they're going to get their clock cleaned. I mean, I think it's pretty clear, and we can start with inflation and all the economic stuff. But if we go to the cultural aspect of all of this, and we haven't even touched on critical race theory and the transgender issue, but let's just go to abortion specifically. I mean, you have the Democrats, in essence, running on a murder and mayhem platform. You know, this idea of killing your unborn baby. They're supporting that. And so that's not a great campaign slogan. That's not a great political strategy to campaign on killing your unborn baby. And oh, by the way, the mayhem that follows, we have AOC and others saying it's illegitimate, take to the streets. Where is the DOJ as it relates to a lot of the violence we've seen over the weekend, and a lot more to come? I mean, murder and mayhem is not a winning campaign slogan. Just ask James Carville and Bill Clinton and many other successful Democrats in the past.
All right. Well, David, thanks for the insight. We look forward to a very active political season. Well, on tomorrow's 700 Club, we'll have an in-depth look at what the states are doing now that Roe has been overturned.